what I've done and what I've failed to do.
Heading to prison right now on the WHAS11 night team, Jamie Knoll, the former Clark County Sheriff, crying at his sentencing. The first time anyone's heard from him since his theft and wild spending with taxpayer money. Also new tonight.
Verdict under instruction number 5, murder.
From a Louisville courtroom, family members reacting to the sidewalk collision in downtown Louisville that changed their lives forever. The man who hit them is found guilty. And then the innocent victims.
It's great to see the community come together and react to such a terrible event by supporting this family.
The 18-year-old Corydon Central High School student killed in the Harvest homecoming shooting. We find the community still struggling to understand this random violence. Right now on the WHAS11 night team. He's heading to prison, and tonight people in southern Indiana are talking about the end of Jamie Knoll's corruption and wild spending when he was the Clark County Sheriff. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Prophet, and for the first time he spoke directly to the victims.
I confess to Almighty God, to you my brothers and sisters, that I have sinned through my own thoughts and my words, what I've done and what I've failed to do.
It was a tearful Jamie Knoll in the courtroom today, right in front of Judge Larry Medlock, before he was handed that 15-year sentence from the special judge, Larry Medlock. That was the agreed-to plea deal. The judge went along with it, Knoll pleading guilty to 27 felony charges in August. But does Clark County believe 15 years is enough or too much? WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dederer and photojournalist Levi Hammer have your answers.
With reluctance, I will accept the plea agreement.
Following testimony from over a dozen of former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll's victims, Judge Larry Medlock accepted his plea deal, a 15-year sentence.
Everybody wants you to do a lifetime in prison, and maybe that's what you deserve, but the law will not allow me to do that.
Moments before the judge made his decision, Knoll was brought to tears for the first time by the ex-wife of his late brother.
Karma is coming for you, and I hope you realize how bad this upsets me. Have fun in prison because you deserve it. Yeah, that's what I want to see right there, is you crying.
Hope Knoll telling our Travis Breeze after the hearing that she accepts the 15-year sentence.
We were all just kind of knowing that this was going to be the amount, the biggest amount he could get, so we were all okay with accepting this. I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, he would get life. Like the judge said, too, he would love to give him life. I agree with that. But we think that we just knew that this was probably going to be the most he could get.
The Indiana State Police investigation started in June of 2023, and now more than a year later, Knoll learned his fate, 12 years of prison and 3 years probation. But to some Clark County residents, a total sentence of 15 years seems too long.
I mean, he should be punished, but not that bad. It's not really a bad guy.
Although not all agree with Jeffersonville resident Sheila Bland. Many other southern Indiana residents see it differently, like Deborah Crenshaw, who called the WHAS 11 rant line.
He should get that 15 plus. At the same point in time, he actually broke down only because the family member talked to him like they did.
Kind of got us worried, you know, how many other people are out there that are guilty, that are still doing what they're doing, you know.
A community that's been given one answer, but left with other questions. In Clark County, Alex Dederer, the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Again, Judge Larry Medlock approved that plea deal agreement after 3 hours of testimony from people who were directly impacted by Knoll's crimes. And they included Beverly Connect, who spoke on behalf of the Utica, Indiana community.
It is hard for me to comprehend what he stole from our small town and his own brother's children to purchase expensive homes, cars, clothes, shoes, trips, and other unnecessary things for himself and his family and his friends when I live on $1,200 a month to cover everything I own.
Other speakers in the courtroom included politicians, members of the sheriff's office, and people who say they were impacted by the EMS response time from New Chapel EMS. Our coverage of today's sentencing continues for you online. You can watch the full unedited comments from Judge Larry Medlock and Jamie Knoll's 6-minute statement and apology. Just go to the WHAS 11 YouTube channel. You'll see it right there at the top of the page. Also, emotional moments playing out in a Louisville courtroom after the guilty verdict came down for the man who ran down a family walking on a downtown sidewalk. It took a jury 2 hours to find Michael Hurley guilty on 5 counts, including the murder of Trey Jones. Jones's wife and son then took to the stand today to give their impact statements for Hurley's sentencing. Jose Alonso and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie report from Jefferson Circuit Court.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Steele Empson Hurley, guilty.
This is Michael Hurley's reaction right after a judge read his guilty verdict. A Jefferson County jury found the Southern Indiana man guilty on 5 charges after he crashed his car into the Jones family in downtown Louisville in July 2022.
I can't put it in words. Every day he's gone and, he took care of us.
Amy Jones was back on the witness stand as the jury deliberates Hurley's sentence. She was emotional as she remembered her husband, Trey, who died from his injuries.
And there's just this huge void that we can't fill and we'll never be able to fill.
A family changed forever. Also testifying was Trey Jones's son, Hunter. He remembers the moment he lost his father.
When you got to Louisville, did you go to University Hospital?
Yes.
And what decision did you eventually have to make on July 7th of 2022?
To cut my father's life support.
Also seriously hurt was Ava Jones, a basketball star whose injuries ended her career.
That fact that you're not optimistic for her future, how does that make you feel?
Awful, obvious. She had everything. She could have done whatever she wanted and been whoever she wanted to be. And now, I just don't know.
On the murder charge, Hurley faces up to a life in prison, a decision that will be in the hands of a jury and judge. In Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Testimony in the sentencing phase is going to continue tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Looking ahead, former Louisville Metro Police Detective Brett Hankerson is going to be back in a federal courtroom in downtown Louisville tomorrow for the start of his retrial in connection to the Breonna Taylor case. Hankerson is accused of violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor, her boyfriend, and her neighbors when he fired into her apartment from the outside on March 13, 2020. His first federal trial ended in a mistrial, and he was acquitted on state charges before that. Family members of a Louisville pilot injured in that St. Matthews crash on Friday night say he's making progress but still faces a long road to recovery after the crash. Family members say Evan Peel broke several bones and suffered burns in the crash on Breckenridge Lane near Kresge Way. And Evan, a student pilot, Jessica Deese were flying when their plane lost power Friday night. Peel took over the controls and brought the plane down on Breckenridge, hitting a car. Deese was able to walk away from the crash while Peel is still in the hospital where he has been undergoing several surgeries. Today, his cousin Bill Minish tells us with his family by his side, Evan was able to close on a house that they couldn't close on Friday. They've set up a GoFundMe account to help cover expenses while Peel isn't able to work. If you'd like to help him out, we've got a link for you at WHAS11.com. Candles still standing along the fence at Corydon Central High School in remembrance of Brian Gerlach. The 18-year-old was killed in a triple shooting right outside Harvest Homecoming late Saturday night. Police are continuing to follow up on leads as they're working to make arrests. Well, the New Albany community is now doing what they can to help the Gerlach family, as you can imagine. And WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley visited one restaurant tonight, hosting a fundraiser to help. And Clarice, you're finding a lot of people raising money for this family.
Yes, Doug, a restaurant called Board and You Bistro in New Albany was full of people, some tables full of customers wanting to give back to the Gerlach family as the community continues to grieve his tragic loss.
It was a horrible thing that happened.
An ordinary Monday evening at Board and You Bistro and Wine Bar, but for an extraordinary cause. The New Albany community gripped by the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach at Harvest Homecoming Saturday. To help the Gerlach family, the restaurant is raising money through each order taken. One of those customers is Melissa Sprigler.
You just feel a connection to this kid even though you don't know the story, and I just feel for everyone involved.
Her kind goes to the vigil outside Bryce's high school Sunday evening.
Oh, it just touched my heart.
10% of her bill will go to the GoFundMe created for Bryce's family.
We have a lot of employees here who are great friends of his, so we just wanted to support them and help support his family as well.
Knowing a little goes a long way.
To do the simple things, because it will, I think, trickle down somehow and help that family in ways that they probably don't even realize.
Gordon's coming together too.
Harrison County is a small county and it's tight.
Lazy Cow Creamery and Sweets right down the street from Bryce's high school is planning a fundraiser for Wednesday.
It's a tragedy what happened, and not that money can take and make things better. We're just try to raise some money to help the family out in whichever way they need it.
Joined by What a Spud with potatoes outside, all proceeds made over 5 hours will go to the Gerlach family.
I couldn't fathom, me and my wife, my daughter, my son-in-law just couldn't fathom losing a loved one like that, and it just seems like the least we could do.
Board and U Bistro and Wine Bar estimated about $350 to $400 would be donated to the Gerlach family after this evening. Lazy Cow Creamery and Sweets event will be from 3:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday. Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Clarice, thank you. New Albany Police asking you to report any information about this case. Help their detectives by calling 812-944-6411. All news since 6 o'clock tonight. Well, public safety is certainly a top concern for many voters heading to the polls. Now, during an event that happened in New Albany tonight, in light of what happened at Harvest Homecoming, we asked the gubernatorial candidate for Indiana, Democrat Jennifer McCormick, about combating gun violence.
We need to make sure we have, repeal the permitless carry and reverse that. We need to also make sure that we're looking at the age in which people can get guns and just be common sense about it. Safe storage needs to be considered.
Republican candidate U.S. Senator Mike Braun has shared his public safety plan online as well. The plan includes prioritizing a collaborative approach to combating the drug crisis, championing policies that support police, and investing in local mental health treatment facilities to help those in crisis receive the care they need. Mike Braun is scheduled to be campaigning in southern Indiana at the end of the month.